Hello and good evening. Welcome to the revision of SBL for your exam preparation. This session will focus on chapter number 2 to chapter number 8 of Kaplan study text. The chapters have many contents. It has many smaller areas. But what we will hit under the revision session are the models plus those important points where you need to learn something. That means maybe it's a use of a keyword or some technical terminology where something has to be remembered. Everything related to remembering stuff we are going to cover in this session, but related to chapter number 2 to chapter number 8. Let me begin with the first part. Let's go on to chapter 2. Chapter 2, I have briefed in the first session. We talk about strategic planning, then JSW model comes into place, and then JSW model takes you towards many models. The discussion of the models we will see in this session, but whatever was there related to strategic planning, that has been covered under first part of the revision session. Now here we will concentrate upon the topic which requires you to learn some technical terminologies, that is strategic drift. What is strategic drift? It's simply a situation where the organization or its managers do not realize that the environment has changed now, and whatever strategies they were following, these strategies are not working anymore. This is a situation of strategic drift. What needs to be learned here is the names of the phases of strategic drift. Strategic drift will have 4 phases. One, the incremental phase, then the strategic drift phase, then flux, and then transformational change or the demise of the organization. Under phase 1, steps are taken where you want to change, bring a change for the organization. That means the management takes steps where the management introduces some new schemes, maybe new products, entering into new markets. This is a phase of a change for the business. Then strategic drift. Now, here the market starts changing. The market changes with a pace which is faster than your pace of introducing new things to the market. That means at this point of time, the speed of change in the market is higher than your speed of change in your strategy. You do not get a competitive advantage because the market is changing faster. Then stage of flux. Here the managers, now they realize that something is not fitting in. That means here the market situation, they are assuming that it is the same situation on the basis of which they planned something, but now the market is going adverse. The market is on its own pace, but the managers now start realizing that they took wrong assumptions. This is a state of flux where actually your development strategies go waste. And the last, either the business transforms itself, otherwise this is a stage where the demise of a business is seen. Either you improve or you die. That's the simple thing. So what we are supposed to learn here is stage 1, incremental change. Stage 2, strategic drift. Stage 3, it's a stage of flux where actually the market and your strategies, they start coinciding and the management starts realizing that their assumptions are not going well. And the last one is change or demise of the business. This was there on chapter 2. Let's come to chapter 3. Now this is where we start using all the models one by one. Porter's 5 forces. What are you supposed to learn? What are the 5 forces? 1, the buyer power, supplier power, competitive rivalry, new entrants and substitutes. Just to brief you a little bit, how powerful is the buyer? If the buyer is powerful, you cannot throw any product of any quality at whatever price you want. This cannot be done. But if the buyer is not powerful, then you are powerful. You can decide upon the pricing, you can decide upon the products, features, everything is in your hands because the buyers are not powerful. When do buyers become powerful? When there are more number of sellers. So that you have to see here. When you are entering into a market, check the buyer power. Then check the supplier power. How powerful is the supplier? Can they stop your material? Can they stop supplying you material? Can they deny giving you a desired quality. That is supplier power. At what terms and conditions they are going to supply you the material? Do they give you any discount? Do they give you extended period of credit? These are supplier powers. Then competitive rivalry. The industry in which you want to go. How is the competition there? Is the competition intense or there is no competition at all? New entrants. How easy is it for new entrants to enter into that market? If it is very easy, then the moment you start getting a competitive advantage, new entrants will enter the market. They will start eating up your profit margins. But if the entry to that market is not very easy, then you can gain a lot if you can enter that market. Some markets or some industries are very capital intensive. It's not very easy for everyone to invest capital in that. If you have capital, you can enter. Definitely, on a long term, you will be there who will be earning profits. Then substitutes. How many substitutes are there in the market for your product? If there are many substitutes, then there is a risk proposition. But if your product cannot be substituted in the market, at least for next 5 years, then you can actually take a lot of profit in those 5 years. Porter's 5 forces is used where you are trying to analyze the environment before entering into a particular new industry or maybe a new market. Then comes Porter's diamond. Now, where do we use Porter's diamond? Where we want to analyze why in a particular country, one company in that country gets more competitive advantage as compared to the same company working somewhere else. So here we are bringing a contrast between the companies working in different countries. There only use Porter's diamond. We are talking about getting competitive advantage in one country versus the second country. The company is same, the policies of the company is same, the product is the same. But what is the difference? Why a particular nation gives more competitive advantage to a company as compared to other? There are 4 factors to it. Number 1, factor conditions. Factors of production. You need factors of production. Do you get cheap labor there? Do you get material easily? Is the pricing of the raw material fairly priced? Is the labor very expensive there? These factor conditions can make a company more competitive, means more advantageous or less advantageous. Related and supporting industries. Let's suppose there is a country and there no distribution channel exists. How will you distribute your production to other parts of that country? That will become a problem. But where the distribution network is very smooth, a company can get competitive advantage in that country. Then the firm's strategy, structure, and rivalry. Does the country work well with our firm's structure? How we structure ourselves? Maybe we structure in divisions. Maybe we structure as small factories working in different locations. If the country is geographically very big, we may increase our costs of distribution. Our strategy is keeping the factories separate from each other. Just a random example. That means our own structure, our own strategy, that also needs to be considered. How are the rivals there? That needs to be considered. If in a particular country, competition is cutthroat competition, then probably getting a competitive advantage will become tough in that country. Then demand conditions. That's the basic of getting competitive advantage. Is there a demand in that country? If there is no demand, there is no point of entering into that country. Not at all. Then comes value chain analysis. Value chain, where do we study value chain? Where you want to improve your own processes. You need to study your own processes, then only you can improve that. So your value chain will have these structures: inbound, operations, outbound, marketing, and 5th, the service. We term these activities the primary value adding activities. You cannot remove them. The activities in our value chain to find out which activity is really adding value to our system. There will be many activities which would not be adding any value. You need to remove them. That's the idea behind studying the value chain. Value chain will only tell you which activity is not adding anything. Remove that activity. So value addition is what we try to check under Porter's value chain. And why are we doing that? To check our own internal systems if we need to improve anything in it. So internal development also happens when we have an idea of our own value chain, the non-value adding activities and value adding activities. So under Porter's chain, these 5 are the primary activities. Then there are secondary and support activities which are needed, which indirectly support the primary activities. What are these? The firm's infrastructure, then the HR department, then the technology and procurement. Procurement does not relate only to purchase of material. We are talking about procurement of all the items of a business. It can be the office furniture, it can be purchase of ACs in the building, it can be the purchase of vehicles for delivery from one place to another. Procurement involves everything. They are supporting all the primary activities as well as other business activities. Okay. Now, logistics relates to raw material purchase. Operations relate to converting your input into output. These are your operations with which you convert your input into output. Then outbound activities. Once the production is done, now your stuff moves from the factory, and here the outbound logistics start. That means you need to store your production, you need to distribute your production. That is outbound logistic. You have to make the product reach the customer. Outbound logistic. Then comes marketing. It includes advertising, running campaigns, distributing free samples, everything. And then service, after sales service. You may be in a product which involves after sales service. These are primary activities of a business. All of them add value to your value chain. These are the secondary activities which are supporting your primary activities. You are studying the value chain to identify if there is any activity which is not adding value to the value chain. Remove any such activity if it is not adding anything. Then we come to chapter number 4 on performance analysis. This talks about KPIs, critical success factors, but what you need to remember relates to benchmarking. There are 4 types of benchmarking. Benchmarking in simple terms is when you are making somebody your idol. Idol in terms of an industry which is doing very good, or maybe a company which is doing very good. We can benchmark its performance and we try to reach that benchmark. Benchmarking can be in 4 forms. 1, internal benchmarking. 2, competitive benchmarking. 3, activity benchmarking. And 4, generic benchmarking. Now, you need to learn these names whenever the discussion on benchmarking happens. Do not miss on writing the technical names correctly. Internal benchmarking. Here, internal processes are analyzed to see what is best in a particular process. That means internal processes, you are determining the best practices and other processes follow that. That is internal benchmarking. Your hero is within the organization. Try to do what the hero does because that's the best practice. Then competitive or industry benchmarking. Here, you are benchmarking the performance of some other company. Any process, any activity which is very good, which is followed or adopted by other firms in the same industry or maybe the sector. Adopt that process. Then activity or functional benchmarking, where an activity or a function is compared with similar function. For example, you can compare quality check, your quality check department with inspection department. So inspection happens for machineries, quality check will happen on products. Maybe you can check what are the systems with which a machinery's performance is checked. And here on the product, you check if the product is really functioning the way it should. For example, you are making ACs. There is a machinery which is making ACs. Now there is an inspection team which checks if the machinery is working fine. And it prepares a checklist. That's a very good activity. Now, once the product is ready, that means the AC is ready, the quality check team comes and checks if the final product is perfect. They do not make any checklist. They saw this team who is inspecting the machinery using that checklist, and now they are really impressed. Though, okay, let us also make a checklist to see if the ACs as a final product, they are working and serving the purpose with which a customer will purchase it. So using a checklist is a system, is an activity which one team is following, which can be used by some other team also. Preparing budgets. So earlier, years back, budgets used to be prepared only for few departments. But this is an activity which got benchmarked by other departments also. They like this activity, that why not keep a target or budget for all the departments? Why only sales department or marketing department should have a budget? Let us have a budget for all the teams. So this budgeting is an activity which was kept as a benchmark, one department following it and remaining departments liked it, and then they also embedded in their system, right? So activity or function benchmarking relates to one particular small activity. It can be within a division, it can be within a department or within an office. Then generic benchmarking. Generic benchmarking is something new being done by someone, maybe in the industry, maybe in your department, anywhere. And this something is something new. Remember, for the first time when home delivery started. So this is a generic, unique process, not related to any one particular item, but it's a generic process used by one business that they started delivering at home. Now other businesses also started delivering at home. Just a vague example, maybe first restaurant started delivering at home. Now rest of the restaurants saw that one restaurant is delivering food at home. Why can't we do that? Let us do that. So that's a generic benchmarking where a unique process is being benchmarked, and similar processes or similar restaurants, they also start adopting this process, that we also should start doing a home delivery. Okay, so 4 names you have to remember here, types of benchmarking. 1, internal benchmarking, then competitive benchmarking, then activity benchmarking, and 4th, generic benchmarking. Now, the balance scorecard. What did you see under balance scorecard? You have to remember 4 perspectives here. The financial perspective, customer perspective, innovation, and internal business processes. How is the business doing in financial numbers? How is the business doing as per the customer's perspective, or you can say how the customer feels the business is doing. So the rating received from the customer, the feedback from the customer complaints handling, this is customer perspective. Then innovation perspective, how innovative is the business? Is it launching new products, or it is just following the same set of products since years? So how innovative is the business? And then how are the internal business processes built? Are the internal processes supportive for better performance of the business, or the internal process in itself are a roadblock in the success of the business? There may be internal processes which do not allow people to innovate. Then your internal process is a problem. So balance scorecard is a mark sheet of a business under 4 perspectives. In numbers, from the customer's perspective, how innovative the business is and how well the business processes are built. Then comes Baldrige Performance Excellence. So this picture reminds you of Baldrige Performance Excellence. Now here what will happen is, you will measure and reward the firm which performs better than its counterparts. Performance measurement is being done here. 7 pointers are given to assess if a firm is doing well or not. 1, how is the firm's leadership? What type of strategies the firm uses? Are the customers of the firm happy? What about the workforce of the company? Is the workforce handled well? Is the workforce fairly treated? Is the workforce well paid? Operations. How are the operations managed by the firm? Results. What are the results? Financial, non-financial, both. Results of the business. And then knowledge management. Knowledge management is knowledge of the people of the business, research done, that is also knowledge of the business. How are you managing it? So this is Baldrige Performance Excellence, which uses 7 pointers. So you need to remember these 7 pointers: leadership, strategy, customers, workforce, operations, results, and knowledge management. Then we come to chapter number 5. Competitive strategy options. Porter gave generic strategies to become competitive. How? 1, you become a cost leader. Second, you give a differentiated product. Third, you focus on a niche market. These 3 are the strategies, generic strategies, general strategies, which can make you or give you competitive advantage over others. What are the generic strategies? 1, cost leadership. 2, 3, focus. Then under chapter 5, you have strategic clock. Strategic clock goes more deeper into differentiation and focus. I'll go one by one. First, here is the price, and here you get the perceived benefits from the product. Simply say, I am ready to pay high price for a product for which I consider that the value is high. Let's suppose a luxury car. I am ready to pay a high price for a luxury product because I conceive its value is high. But when it comes to salt or matchbox, I won't pay high value for it. It is a low perceived value item. That is why I'll pay low price for that. Now, what is the strategy which goes for these combinations? Strategic clock gives that. 1, no frills, where the price is also low and the perceived value is also low, just like matchbox. No frills is a case where the customer doesn't bother if your product is, the matchstick belongs to XYZ company or PQR company. He doesn't bother. That's a no frills case. Now, where does your product lie? Under 2. Price is low, but the perceived value of the product is medium types. We can categorize salt here. So this is a low price case where low price must be maintained. Because yes, the quality of the product does matter. If the salt does not have that flair of falling salt, then probably the customer is not happy. But it is a cost-effective product. You cannot increase the price of this product. Then comes third, hybrid, where a little bit differentiation can be done, but the price again has to be kept low. So means salt with sodium, salt without sodium. Then fourth, differentiation. Now this is a place where the price can be increased. Now you need to offer a better product by differentiating it a bit, because the perceived value in the mind of the customer is quite high. You can take with differentiation stationery products. A pen which writes smoothly, it has got a brand name. Notebooks, the quality of its pages, they have got a brand name. So a little bit of differentiation, people are ready to offer you high prices because it's about writing in the exam. So the pencil or the pen has to be of a good quality, and the price has to be okay types. People are not just, people consider it to be valuable, but they are not ready to pay 1,000 rupees for one single pencil or pen. So that's the thing you need to remember as a business. Then comes focused differentiation. Here the perceived value is not too much, but still the price can be kept high. Why? Because you are a brand now. For example, branded bags, branded shoes. Even if the perceived value is not that much, people are ready to pay you high price. Then comes strategy that will fail. That means you are giving an ordinary type of a product. Customers do not feel this product very valuable. They do not have that much value for it. And you are keeping it at a high price. People are very likely to not buy it. Let's suppose black salt, black water. In Indian setup, at least black mineral water doesn't sell that much. This is a strategy that will fail. And at the end comes where the perceived value of the product is very poor and you are selling it at a high price. This strategy will also fail. So identify where your product lies in the whole clock. where is your product, and then decide what should be your strategy. For example, if my product lies here, I should go ahead with differentiation. I should go ahead with a differentiation where I should maintain a nominal price, because people do consider the value of my product to be high perceived value product. Okay, so the price should be okay type price, not too low, not too high. So first identify where your product sits, and then decide how pricing and how the strategy should be implemented. Be it cost leadership, you have to go. These are cost leadership. This is cost leadership. Then you need to go into differentiation, or you need to go into branding, niche market, or focusing. So decide based on that where your product falls, and then decide what you need to do as a strategy to gain competitive advantage. Now, the business wants to grow. The moment you decide to grow, refer to ENSOF matrix. It's a 4-box matrix. One, you want an existing product but in a new market, or you want to take it in the existing market. I'm talking about this box. That means the existing product you want to take in the existing market. Then you don't have to do anything. Just try to enter the market with more number of sales. But if you want to enter into new markets with the same product, then it is market development. You need to develop the market which adapts your product. If you want to launch a new product in the existing market, new product in the existing market, this is a case of product development. Market is the same, people know you, but now what you need to focus on is develop your product. Do an R&D, do a questionnaire, do a research, what people want. Then prepare a product, develop a product, launch in the market. And then new market, new product comes under diversification. New market, new product comes under diversification. The product is new, where you are not holding any experience. The market is also new, where you are not holding any experience. That means you want to enter into an area which is new to you. That is diversifying your operations. Okay, so these are growth strategies. Again, remember this: one, existing product, new product, then existing market, new market. And remember these boxes. When you have to launch a new product in the existing market, you have to develop the product. When it's a new product in the new market, you have to diversify. That means that is a case of diversification. When an existing product is being launched in a new market, you have to develop the market, not the product. The product is already there with you. And when nothing is changing, that means the product is existing, market is existing, just penetrate the market. That's it. Now, when we say diversification, you will see 3 words being used here. 1, conglomerate. 2, horizontal diversification. 3, vertical integration. Conglomerate is when you are moving into a market which is not at all related to your existing business. Neither your business related nor your market related. That means everything is new and you enter into such a market that is conglomerate, everything new. Then horizontal diversification, or we also term it as horizontal integration. Here the company will extend its activities on the same level. Means same level means here what will happen is you will enter into products or markets where you already have an expertise. This strategy is spread over increasing the number of units. Let me give you an example of horizontal diversification. I am into making fruit juices. Now I can acquire a company which is making fruit jams. That is a horizontal diversification. I am acquiring something which is related to my product, but that's a different product, not altogether different product, but a small difference is there. And it will support my own business also. So I will diversify by acquiring the jam company. Then comes vertical integration. Vertical integration will be when you are acquiring downward or upward movement. Downward means, let's suppose you are a wholesaler You acquire the retailer, that is vertical integration. Let's suppose you are a wholesaler, you acquire the manufacturer. That means moving up and down. Moving up is towards the manufacturer, moving down is towards the customer. So remember, three techniques, three words used for diversification: conglomerate, horizontal diversification or integration, and vertical integration. Then comes chapter 5, strategy evaluation. So this I briefed in the first session also. Check for three criteria while you are making a choice of strategy. Evaluate the strategy using three criteria. One, suitability, acceptability, feasibility. I term it as suitability, feasibility, and acceptability. Is it suitable for the business? Means the strategy. Can we do it? That's feasibility. Is it still acceptable for us? That is acceptability. Okay, till here, chapter number 5 done. We'll move to chapter number 6. Just give me a break of 10 minutes. I'm back. So now we come back to chapter number 6. 6 has got BCG group, growth share matrix. That means now we need to grow here and we need to think where our cash is coming from, which divisions to keep and which division to shut down. BCG group growth share matrix tells you, you categorize your divisions, you categorize your business units into star, problem child, dog, and cash cow. And then accordingly, once the classification is done, then you decide if you want to keep that division or you want to sell it off or close it off. Further investment should be made in that division or you should stop all the operations of that division. First, let us take stars. They have very high market growth. They have a high market share. That means they are the star performers. High growth rate, high market share. What you should do here? You should provide them sufficient cash. This should be your growth strategy. Where will the cash come from? From cash cows. Cash cows, now you decide which division falls in a cash cow. It would have a high market share, but the growth rate would be stagnant. That means it won't have any good scope of growing. So growth rate is low, but still it has got a very major market share. Such businesses, such divisions or such units, they have low growth and they support other products or other divisions or units. They are your source of cash. Problem child. Now problem child has got low market share, but it has got high prospects of growth. That means the idea is wonderful, but as of now, it is performing low. Maybe it is in the initial years of its business establishment. Maybe some advertisement is missing in it, but overall, it has potential of growing. We call it question mark also. Problem child or question mark, both are used under BCG matrix. Here, you can contribute some amount of money to problem child because it has the capacity, it has the capability of growing, and in the future, this problem child can become a star. But dogs, they have relatively low market share and low growth prospects also. Neither they have a chance of growing, nor they at present carry good market share. They are a perfect case of selling. Close them, sell them. That means dogs, you should not invest more money on dogs. They should be sold immediately. Now, what you need to remember under BCG matrix is which division or which unit you should invest more, which division you should sell off. Collect all your divisions, try to categorize and make them fall in any of the categories and then decide which strategy should work with that division. Let's suppose I talk about a division A or business unit A. This business unit, as per the market share and the growth prospects, it is a problem child. Now my strategy is I should give it some money because it has chances of becoming a star. But when any division or business unit, let's suppose business unit B, it falls in the box of a dog. That means no market share or low market share and low chances of growth. Do not give money to this business unit. It's better to sell this business unit. Okay, so by placing your business units into these 4 quadrants, you can decide the strategy how you want to grow them, by giving them more money or by selling them off. Now, these are the movements on the BCG matrix. Problem child, star, and here dog is here. We are not considering or discussing any growth movements or strategic movements for dog, because we have clearly decided we will not invest money on dog business units. They are going to be discarded or sold off or closed. Now, how this movement works. Problem child has the capacity to grow into a star. If star is already there and you do not give it proper attention, then it has the capability of reaching a cash cow. However, we still can say even if somebody is a star, it cannot remain a star forever. After some number of years, it will automatically fall into the cash cow category. It will be only generating cash, but will lack scope of future growth. Growth can come to a reasonable extent only for any product, because after certain years, the product gets copied by the competitors and the product is already there in the market with so many options and changes available. So this movement is like this. And cash cow is the one which provides money to the star as well as problem child both. Now, the same growth portfolio in public sector. The names change now, but the overall concept and core remains the same. Here, it's not only star, it is a public sector star. Here, we do not say cash cow, we say it's a golden fleece. 3, we do not say a problem child, we say a political hotbox. And 4th, we do not say dogs, we say backdoor issues. So you need to remember these names. But the overall intent behind these 4 categorizations is similar to what we saw under BCG. Public sector star. Public is attracted towards it. The public considers it to be highly needed. Public need it. And public considers it to be a value for money business unit. So that's a public sector star. For example, railways, we can say. It's value for money, then we consider it to be valuable. That is why a lot of people use Indian Railways. So that is attractive to the public. It should be well funded. Yes, you need to see and set objectives. You need to focus on them. Do not leave them unattended. Now, golden fleece. Golden fleece, people do not need it, but it is still value for money. People can say that the value is not that much which you are funding it, but still it is needed. Perceived value in the eyes of the public is quite low for golden fleece, but golden fleece is generating money. So you need to take this money to star or political hotbox. What can be such a service which makes golden fleece? What falls under golden fleece? Maybe drinking water stations on the public areas or across the roads. Maybe that can be one of the things which public consider to be of low value, but still it is needed for someone who is very thirsty. So value for money is high, but people do not need it much. 90% people carry their water bottles, so these water stations are not needed. Okay, just for simple example. Now, hot box. People value it a lot, but they do not add value much. People like it. Means as a popularity, it is very popular, but it is not very effective. So that is political hotbox. What you can do is pay attention either to make the public realize that this is not of too much of value. It's not of too much of value, or you try to make it value for money. Either you remove it from here or take it to the lower level. Do attempts from either of the sides, the way we did our nationalization and privatization of banks. So that you can see here, people consider to be of high value, but for us, it is not going value for money. Means the banks are running into losses, the operations are getting tough for the government to handle, so they privatize them, right? So that is political hotbox. And the last one is backdoor issues, which are not even effective and even public don't want them. They are backdoor issues. They may be separate lanes for public transport. People don't want public transport, and then people don't want a separate lane also. So neither it is value for money, it's a very costly affair. Number 2, people do not consider it to be valuable. Shut it off. projects which people don't want. So they can be backdoor issues. Now the 4 terms which you need to learn: 1, public sector star; 2, golden fleece; 3, political hotbox; and 4, backdoor issues. The overall concept remains the same. Here the only difference is what value the public conceives and value for money, preposition of all the 4 items. So you have to take care of your business units or your projects, they fall under which category, and then decide if further funds must be given to them or not. Now, Ashridge portfolio display or the parenting matrix. This matrix highlights what value a parent company can add subsidiary. Now here you will have again 4 categories. Is there any opportunity to add value? Is the parent able to add value? The parent must carry an ability to add value. For example, there is a parent company which is into textile and the subsidiary company is into automobile. The parent is not having that ability to add value for this subsidiary. Okay, so here we talk about ability and here we talk about opportunity. Even if I have the ability as a parent company to help the subsidiary, but at least there should be an opportunity to help. So that is the opportunity. Now we use 4 terms here. One is alien territory. I always tell students to learn this first. Alien territory. Here the opportunity is also low and the ability is also low. It's a complete mismatch portfolio which you have created. Neither you are able to help it, nor there is any opportunity to help it. The company is already indebted, already on the wake of getting insolvent, and the business also we don't know. How will we as a parent company help the subsidiary? No chance. So this should not remain in your portfolio. Sell it off. Subsidiary held for resale. Discontinued operation. Okay, next. Value trap. Here what is happening is there is high opportunity to add value, but you do not have that ability to add value to the subsidiary. Parenting opportunities are there, but the parent company does not have the ability or maybe the experience to add value to the subsidiary. In that case, here also you are trapped. You can't help it. Now leave this decision to the parent company if they want to keep this subsidiary or they want to dispose it off. Then comes ballast. The parent company can help it. High ability to help because the subsidiary and the parent company both are in the textile sector. But the opportunities are quite low. You can't do anything. Leave it alone. Maybe the subsidiary company is struggling with textiles raw material, but the raw material cannot be imported in the country in which the subsidiary is functioning. There is no scope of importing from other country, and the parent company is in foreign. The parent company cannot send raw material for this subsidiary to do the production. That means it has the ability to add value, but the opportunity is not there. They are not allowed to send the raw material to the subsidiary in that country. You can't do anything. Either get rid of this subsidiary or leave it on its own. And here comes heartland. Heartland, something near to my heart. That means everything is goody-goody here. You have the opportunity to help your subsidiary and you have the ability as well. So this is where the parent company should make strategies to improve this further. This subsidiary has the scope of improvement. You can create strategies and the strategies can be implemented also. That means you are able to add value to the subsidiary and you also have the opportunity to add value. Everything is falling in place. That is why it is termed as heartland. So what 4 terms we saw here? Alien territory, value trap, ballast, and heartland. On the basis of, do we have an opportunity to add value as a parent company? Do we have the ability to add value as a parent company? Then comes edge of heartland business units. That means the business units who are on the edge of entering into heartland. If the parent company focuses on them, takes them in the right direction, then these business units can actually enter into heartland. This is the edge of heartland. They are here on the edge. Alien territory is very far. Don't waste time on it. Value trap is very far. Don't waste time on it. Ballast is very far. Don't waste time on it. But being a parent company, if some business units or any business unit is on the edge of heartland, means absolutely on the border of the heartland, just a small support and this business unit or subsidiary enters into heartland. Just a small support. Okay. Now let's come to chapter number 7. It talks about governance, general principles. Whenever the question in the exam asks you on governance, do not miss referring to the Cadbury report 1992. The Cadbury report gave a lot of ideas and directions and general principles or guidelines for companies to have such corporate governance in their systems. So whenever a corporate governance question comes, do not miss to write Cadbury report 1992. This is the first thing you need to write to make your answer impressive. Tell the examiner you know what Cadbury report was. Then comes agency theory. When we talk about governance, it is different from ownership. That is agency. There is a principal who are the investors in the business. They are the principals. But there are agents who are running the business on behalf of the principals. Who are these agents? The board of directors, the senior management. So agency theory is keeping them separate, and the agents are reflecting or working on behalf of the principals. Who are the principals here? The investor of the company, right? Even external auditor is a principal of the investors, the shareholders. So agency theory will hit upon keeping the ownership and management separate from each other. There are two challenges, two problem areas of agency theory. One, the principal agent clashes. Principals, that means the investors, have a different objective. Agents have a different objective. That means the board of directors or the senior management will have a different objective. Then comes the cost of agency. We have two main costs of agencies. One, agency cost, which are paying salary to the senior management, to the board of directors, the remuneration. And then is residual loss. Means the fancy facilitation of the board of directors. Their air tickets, the cars with which they travel from the office to their home, the perks which are given to them. That is a residual loss. Now the public sector, the moment you get to know about a public sector entity, 3 E's come into picture. Economy, how economically you are using the resources. Are you buying the costliest material or you are buying the best quality material at the lowest possible rate? Effectiveness. Is your service or product effective? You are making a product. Let's take AC. Is it effective in keeping the rooms and houses cool? That is effectiveness. Efficiency. Are you carrying on the business efficiently? People are not enjoying the idle hours. You are not wasting the material. There are not people who are just taking absence from offices. 10 days in a month, they are absent and taking the full month salary. Effectiveness is related to output. Efficiency is related to input. Efficiency relates to how well the operations and resources are being used. Effectiveness is about the output. If whatever is the output, it is able to meet the purpose with which it was created. Okay, so 3 E's of public sector: economy, effectiveness, and efficiency. Now, chapter 8, approaches to governance. We have two approaches of governance: principle-based approach and rule-based approach. Rule-based approach is followed in US. Principle-based approach is followed in UK. Principle-based approach, the examiner will look for comply or explain. Either you comply with the approach of corporate governance, and if you are not complying with it, explain why you are not complying with it. That means the entities have to explain if they do not comply with the corporate governance guidelines. But when it is rule-based approach, it has to be followed. If you do not follow, there is a penalty for it. Now, under the US model, what rule-based approach of corporate governance is used? It's the SOX approach, Sarbanes-Oxley approach. SOX approach has got some key points. What are those key points? One, the auditor should be independent. Then the audit partner must be changed after every 5 years. The directors or the senior managers cannot deal in shares at sensitive times because it invites insider information in that case. So there are some restriction on the dealing in shares or business transactions where the directors are themselves employed. Then increased financial disclosures under the SOX requirements. The companies must give detailed disclosures in the annual report. Financial statements must be accurate. They must be stamped and checked by the CEO and CFO of the company. Internal control report, that means the annual report must also talk about the internal control systems of the company, how the internal control systems are functioning, if there is any deficiency, how the management is dealing with it. Then the audit committee must exist in a company, and this company should clearly define that these are the people who are there in our audit committee. These are the key points of SOX. You need to remember them as far as possible. If the question comes, do mention them. Then under the approaches to governance, there were two important terms. One, insider system of organizational structure and outsider system of organizational structure. Insider system is where the shareholding is in limited hands. One person holding 70% shares of a company. So this person is more connected with the management and is more involved in the management of the business. This is an insider system of organizational structure. Now, the risk is this person knows the insider information of the business, what is the plan of the business, and this plan and ideas and information can be used to manipulate the share prices also. So insider system actually violates the agency concept. The owners should keep themselves away from the management, which is served under the outsider system, where the company's shareholders are too many in number, and usually they carry not more than 3% of holding. That means everybody is important. No one person can rule upon the management or can get an insider, get benefit from the share prices, or can decide for the company. So this one person is not the owner. Here, the best agency relationship is seen. The management is different, owners are different. Owners do not keep on interfering in the functions of the business. Then comes IGCN global governance principles. These are the principles which are recommendatory in nature. Every business should follow them. So generally you have to remember, don't mug them up. Number one, there is a particular role and responsibility of the board. They have to act in a transparent manner. They have to be fair. They have to work with integrity. They have to take good care of their role. They have to take care diligently in the business transactions. Then they have to ensure that the board members are independent. They do not have a self-interest or any other independence threat. Then the board of directors or the board is balanced and has diversity in it. The composition and appointment of the board has relevant experience, people from different experience, different industries. Ensuring diversity in the board is a general principle given by ICGN. Ethical practices are followed across the organization. Risk oversight by the board on a regular basis. Usually the risk committee takes care of it, but still the board should know what are the risks associated with the business so that the board can create strategies to handle those risks. Fair remuneration for the board members so that they do not have any reason to be unethical towards the business. When usually it is believed when people are fairly paid, they do not resort to unethical practices. But when you do not pay them well, the chances of adopting unethical practices increase, right? So fairly remunerate them. True and fair reporting in the financial results must be adopted, and shareholder rights must be protected. These are general principles. Please do not mug them up. Now, separately, ICGN gave global stewardship principles also. Understand the difference between the two. One, we are talking about the governance principles. Here, we are talking about stewardship principles. So these two are different. They are 7 in number. Stewardship principles are 7 core principles. One relates to internal governance. That means how effective stewardship can be achieved. Understand, the board of directors are the fiduciary agents of their clients, means the investors. Realizing this, that the internal governance is a foundation to effective stewardship. That's the first principle that the board of directors must keep in mind. Number two, stewardship policies must be developed. That means the investors have to outline what will be the scope of rights and duties for the stewards of the business, means the board of directors. They have to assess and monitor the investee companies, means the investors have to take care of how the investee companies are doing. They have to keep an eye on the companies where their money is invested. Then the investors should engage with the investee companies. They should collaborate with other investors to keep on knowing what the companies are doing. These all roles are coming from the investors' side. The investors need to create a foundation. The investors need to put in place stewardship policies. The investors should monitor the investee companies. The investors should engage with the investor company. The investors should cast their votes on relevant matters happening in the companies. They should promote a long-term association with the company. They should ensure the social, environmental factors are integrated in the business. And these shareholders, investors should enhance transparency, disclosure, and public reporting. These all principles are for the investors to follow. On the other side, here it was for the management to follow. So these two are different. When we talk about role of investors, then ICG and global stewardship principles will work. When we talk about the corporate governance by the top management, we talk about these governance principles. Okay, these two are the differences, and with which we complete the revision till chapter number 8. In the next session, we'll catch up with the next 8 set of chapters. I am keeping the whole syllabus broken down into 3 parts, 8 chapters in one session, next 8 in another, and last 8 in another. So we'll catch up with the next 8 chapters in the next session. Till the time, revise and have a look at this session numerous number of times so that you can retain what model contains what and which model to apply in which case. But one more important thing to highlight, do not force any model in a question if it is not needed. The examiner has been time and again telling this to the students. You don't have to force the models every time. If a particular scenario can be analyzed or maybe the answer can be written without using a model, do not unnecessarily force a model in it. Every model is different in itself. One cannot be put in place of another. Do not force that. We'll catch up in the next session with the next set of chapters revision. Till the time, stay focused, keep on studying. Thank you so much and take care.